Started. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn program. My name is Christine Zellers, and I'm the Rutgers Cooperative Extension Family and Community Health Sciences educator for Cape May County. And I am presenting to you today on the 8 Dimensions of Wellness, which is a curriculum I wrote together with my colleague Jennifer Shakaitis, who oversees the state. Before we get started today in the presentation, I just wanted to quickly review the cooperative extension structure for those of you that are not familiar. Are we recording, Morgan?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Rutgers Cooperative Extension is a partnership between the county of chosen freeholders, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, and the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. And we have faculty and or staff in 21 of the New Jersey counties across the state. We're composed of 3 departments, which include agriculture and natural resources, 4-H and youth development, and then my department, which is family and community health sciences, or FCHS. And in FCHS, we do provide outreach in New Jersey and beyond on topics that relate to nutrition, chronic disease prevention, food safety, and overall wellness. And at the end of the presentation today, I will offer you some resources to contact us and look at our websites and Facebook pages for extra free resources. Rutgers Cooperative Extension, and Rutgers University is an equal affirmative action opportunity employer. And so are our programs and materials. They're open to all. All right, we're going to release a quick poll now. And if you could complete that, it's very helpful to me. It allows me to know your thoughts about the program and how we're doing. So I just wanted to ask if you please complete that while I talk. So we did have about 49 people register for today's class when I went in and checked just a couple minutes ago. And I just want to go over the criteria for winning one of the Fitbits if you haven't been on before, or if you're not really sure what's going on with this. I'm really trying to get the interest of people's learning and what you think about the 8 dimensions of wellness. So I've created a little brief survey. It's just a couple of questions that follows each lesson. And if you complete the survey, which will be emailed to you after the class, each class, you can enter to win one of the Fitbits if you leave your email after you complete the survey. So if you watch all 10 of the classes, then you have 10 opportunities to win one of the 15 Fitbits we'll be giving away. There is a little code word that I give, I say to you during some point of the presentation that you need to enter, so pay attention for that. And it's fine if you want to share that, but if you share that with people that didn't actually watch, and then they're not going to actually, they're going to be having a chance to win a Fitbit, and you might not get that Fitbit if you give them the opportunity. So just saying. So go ahead and complete that if you want to win the Fitbit, and I really appreciate it, because again, it's just, we're trying to get feedback on this curriculum that we've written, and we want to incentivize y'all for helping us out for doing that. So you'll get that shortly after the presentation. This particular presentation that we're doing today is financial wellness, not one that I'm uber comfortable with. So obviously it's an area that I need myself some good old-fashioned wellness in, probably. But hopefully you'll find some of the tricks and keys that we give you today to be helpful. There's going to be 3 objectives in today's webinar. We're going to identify the dimensions of wellness. We're going to define financial wellness, and we're going to recognize the importance of financial wellness and explore ways to achieve, maintain, or improve financial wellness, as well as understanding how financial wellness affects and is affected by the other dimensions of wellness. Because as you'll recall, probably if you've been on one of these calls before, they are all very interrelated, and we'll review that, of course, as well. This is a QR code to give a review of today's class. And if you get out your phone and just take it, hold it up, your smartphone, and scan that, it gives you the opportunity to complete that. If you answer just the first 2 questions at the top, that would be awesome. You don't have to answer them all if you don't want to, but the first 2 really help me with my processes and what's required of me at the university. And then if you put your email in at the end, we can enter you for yet another prize. I'm full of prizes. So gives you the opportunity, and it's very much appreciated if you could do that. And I'll put that up at the end too, so you have the opportunity to go in and score the class. Currently, the wellness industry, as you might be well aware, is a $4 trillion business. And people have latched onto this idea of wellness. But what does it mean exactly? And I've been listening to a podcast when I exercise in the morning. And the podcast was recorded during the lockdown of COVID-19. So they talk a lot about, our mental health and all that information that was out there and what was happening. It's kind of a bad flashback listening to it, honestly. But, I think that contributed a lot to the term, that wellness, need for wellness. And that's probably why it's a $4 trillion business. I don't know how much it's grown in the last 4 years, but certainly it was a time when everybody was seeking out some way to be healthier because we were all feeling a little out of sorts, for sure. So if you actually go in and you search the term wellness, you'll likely see images of spas and yoga classes, people meditating, maybe some essential oils. And even when I go in to do one of these presentations and I'm writing the presentation in some of the different apps that they have to create slide decks, and I search out the word wellness in the slide deck, that's what I get. That's what comes up: people meditating and people in spas and yogas. But there's maybe things that can contribute to, or they might be things that, contribute to our overall wellness. But it seems to be that there's an undefined idea that people are always looking for to achieve with wellness. And it might come to your mind when I ask people a lot of times, what is your definition of wellness? They say, oh, it's physical wellness, or it's mental wellness or emotional wellness. But is it, to really understand wellness, it turns out that there's a way to understand this content that is actually based in research. And because we do everything here at Rutgers Cooperative Extension in research-based information, we sought information from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, because they are evidence-based, and they created a definition for wellness. And the definition includes a holistic approach, meaning it's not based upon an idea, but rather the functioning of several concepts that create balance to establish wellness. And it turns out that wellness actually can be defined. And I say that because I think that we all hear the term wellness and have that vague sense of what it means. But chances are that you spent some money on your own wellness, because, as I mentioned, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. So the definition and the way that wellness has come to be defined according to the model has been developed by SAMHSA, as I said, and it actually is a balance of 8 different dimensions. SAMHSA's definition envisions wellness not as the absence of disease, illness, and stress, but as the presence of positive purpose in life. So you hear that word positive. So they're always trying to stress to you positive ways. There's a lot of negative things going on in our life, but it's trying to find that way to be positive around our purpose in life and the things that we do. It includes satisfying work and play, joyful relationships, having a healthy body and living environment, and happiness. The 8 dimensions defined by SAMHSA, as you'll see several times here, are social, emotional, physical, intellectual, environmental, occupational, spiritual, and financial, which is the one, again, that we're going to focus in on today. And just as a note, the components of wellness are listed in alphabetical order, and they're not in order of like any priority. SAMHSA has just listed them in this order on the materials. So I've kept it the same for purposes here and, consistency's sake. But the fact that financial wellness falls at number 3 out of 8 does not imply that it's of greater importance or value than the other dimensions that you can see. But financial wellness is satisfaction with current and future financial situations. So when we look at financial wellness, you might be thinking, oh, I'm doing pretty well right now. I'm happy, I'm comfortable. But what does that look like, when you retire? What does that look like, if things change? So it's not just right now, but the future. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through today's presentation. All right, the financial dimension of wellness does not have one meaning, but it does include things such as income, debt, and savings. It also encompasses a person's understanding of financial progress, processes, and resources. A person's satisfaction with their current financial situation, as I mentioned, as well as those future prospects, also comes into play when obtaining financial wellness. This aspect of financial wellness complements the other 7 areas of wellness to make sure we are balanced. And again, it's a little bit of a balancing act, but let's look at how we can maybe get towards that financial wellness. You're going to hear me say several times, you've heard, probably if you've been on one of these other calls, you'll hear me say it today, you've heard me say it before. As we discuss financial wellness, let's take it in small steps. Try not to do everything so that you get overwhelmed all at once. Break things down. SAMHSA has these broken down into individual areas. So maybe you just take the one area and one of the aspects of that to start with. So, listen to the presentation, think about where you might start with to achieve financial wellness if you don't feel like that's one of the areas that you are, one of the dimensions that you are feeling wellness, and make a goal to do just one aspect of it, not everything at once. And if you already feel really satisfied with your financial wellness, you're like, you know what, I have a plan right now that's in place. I'm comfortable, I'm happy, things are going well. I have a plan for my future. I'm saving already for my retirement, and I've met with somebody that has guided me in this area. See how financial wellness might overlap with some of the other dimensions of wellness in your life, and see how they complement each other, and how you can maybe take your strength in financial wellness and help to strengthen some of the other areas where you might feel not as strong. Okay, so there's 4 areas of financial wellness identified by SAMHSA. They include work, your checking and or savings accounts, any debt that you may have, and retirement and or other accounts. So let's take a deeper dive into these and see how we stack up. So ask yourself, how does financial wellness impact your life, and how does it relate to wellness as we go through this conversation? Finances might be a surprising topic for a wellness discussion, but it's important to mention overall because it fits in with a lot of the things we do. And honestly, if you're feeling financially uncomfortable, that could impact your social wellness, it can impact your emotional, your physical, so many other parts of the 8 dimensions. So that is why it's such an important part. Ask yourself, what is the impact of my financial situation? And what does, what impact does that have on my life in the area of work? Consider if are you feeling comfortable? Do you require some improvement in this area? Are you able to meet your obligations from the work that you currently do? Or, are you able to have access to food, clothing, and housing? Or is that a struggle for you? Are you able to work in a job or field that you feel passionate about? And if you're not able to make ends meet, or you don't feel inspired by your work, maybe it's time to look elsewhere. And maybe, that could include doing some paid or volunteer work outside of the current situation that you're in. So in a few minutes, we're going to talk about how to be more fulfilled using work to support your financial wellness. But these are the areas under work or employment or job that are important to consider when contributing or talking about financial wellness. Checking and savings accounts are the next area, and they too are an important part of your financial wellness. And to prevent becoming overextended, it's really critical to balance your checkbook regularly. And likewise, it's important to check on the progress of savings accounts. Excuse me. It's also important that you make savings goals goals that align with your life goals. So for instance, are things that are important to you, maybe owning your own home, or being able to go on vacation, or having a retirement plan. They are all, how do those goals align with what your life goals are? And it's important to have that mindset so that you can plan for your future, because sometimes financial wellness does take some planning. If you're using a budget for weekly or monthly expenses, that's great, and that'll help you keep track of your accounts to help you not only plan, but to pay the rent and get food on the table, or find room in the budget for things that you want to do that are more enjoyable than, paying rent. So, yeah, so the budgeting part is also equally as important in this area of checking and savings accounts. And then debt, debt can be really daunting, especially if we get ourselves in over our head. And even though it's even though an easy solution might be to put our head in the sand and ignore it, maybe it'll go away. We don't ignore that we have the debt there. Really, the reality of it is to come up with a plan. So you want to look at your total debt and find a way to manage that. You're going to need to also talk to people about services, people who specialize in this area with debt reduction and management. So look for assistance. And if you're finding yourself going deeper and deeper into debt, ask yourself, how can I get that assistance? What does that look like? It's better to go ahead and get some assistance than not. All right. So having plans for the future also includes retirement and other types of accounts is listed together in this area. And this is really, this subject area is really looking at our future and what does that future look like when they say other accounts. If you don't have any type of savings account, then look for one that fits your needs. So for example, maybe your company has a credit union where you can take a small amount of your paycheck and put it away every pay period. If you decrease the amount slightly when you get a pay increase. So for instance, what I do, I have that set up. So the university offers a credit union. So if I get a pay increase, I always bump it up a little bit because it doesn't hurt as much because I don't already have that money in my pocket. So think about it like during maybe increased times or things like that, that if you can add more money in there to that account, that way it won't feel as painful to you. Having retirement accounts for the future is also critical too. A retirement plan allows us to save money and allows us to live after we stop working full time. Because Social Security, a lot of times it offers the balance for us, but it doesn't always offer our full salary amounts. So it's important that you look into the future, plan what you're going to need, be aware of what you're going to need so that you can meet the obligations that you're going to have in retirement. Let's see. Oh, and the other thing is, if you are on disability benefits or anything like that, you want to make sure that you get information on the disability benefits and how that affects you moving into the future, and have a plan for that in that situation as well. So now that we know the three aspects of financial dimension of wellness, let's look at the keys to putting these ideas to work in our lives with some suggestions on how to implement them. All right, back to the area of work. The keys to financial wellness include finding tools at work that make you successful. And this might mean evaluating your current employment and how satisfied you really are. If you're unable to make ends meet or you don't like your work environment, maybe it's time to take a look at, some hiring that's going on around there. Look at some apps that have hiring, processes that you can become involved in. Maybe network within your group of professionals that you work with and put feelers out there for what is available, or talk to family and friends about opportunities that might be a little more in line with your goals and satisfaction levels. If you're challenged at work, that might mean that your job's hard, but sometimes challenging is rewarding. It's helping with that intellectual aspect of wellness. So maybe it's rewarding to suit your needs for intellectual wellness, but if it's too challenging and you feel burnt out, maybe you look at other options or look at a way to get better work-life balance in your world. And if you don't think that you're going to grow or expand where you are, try growing and expanding your knowledge. Maybe, you decide, okay, I'm not thrilled at this level, but I'm going to work my way up the ladder, and, put my time in, and I want to have some professional growth. So what does that look like? You might want to look at a class to improve your skills. Maybe it's going back to school. Maybe you go and improve your skills at, I know the libraries offer different computer classes, the county colleges offer things. Maybe that means going and getting additional knowledge so that it makes you more marketable and allows, you to expand yourself within your current position or getting a new one. Also, keep your resume up to date. That's really important too. I know, usually people only pull it out when it's time to look for something, but that means that a lot of things can go unsaid. There's things you're probably doing 3 years ago that you don't remember that might be really useful in your resume. So try to update your resume regularly so that if you do decide to apply for a promotion suddenly or expand your work horizons, you have that ability to do that as well. And then if you're not working, if you're retired, or you're on permanent disability and you're collecting Social Security, either way, retirement or disability, it's really important that you get up-to-date information about part-time work or other types of income that could impact your eligibility. So if you're collecting one of these benefits, it's always good to check with Social Security offices about what you can and cannot earn. So you can go to the office or for Social Security, or you could check their webpage for benefits. They have different PDF and information on there that you can check out. And as I mentioned, it's really important to keep up-to-date records for your checking account. So being debt aware is critical. And nowadays, it's very simple to know what's happening with your money because we can receive it, and have that awareness right there in real time on our phone. So when we're looking at the checking accounts and the savings accounts for financial wellness, know what's going on. If you don't already, get those text reminders, those email reminders, all those different things that help us to know where we are on, and they can come right to your device. So that's important. But not only is it important, this is where like old school and new school come into context together. It's also important to make sure that you cross-check your credit card statements and your checking accounts. Make sure what's going out, what's going out, and what the balance of your accounts are. Even though you're getting a real-time, pop-up on your phone, you want to make sure you go in and you check them so everything's where it should be, and you have a good idea of where your finances stand. And if you want to make sure that you have things, savings opportunities that are good for you and are productive for you. So for instance, if you decide, hey, I'd like to save some money, I'm going to put my money in a CD, a 3-year CD. That's great, but make sure you don't need that money in that 3-year time period. If all of a sudden you're going to need money and you have it in the CD that's a 3-year CD, you're liable to pay a penalty to take that out. So be aware of penalties when your different accounts and how they work. Check in with your bank and make sure you're set up for an account that's suitable for you. If you have the same checking account that you set up when you went away to college, that might not be as suitable for you as an adult, or they might have changed things on you after 4 years and you don't recognize it. So it's good to be in touch with your bank and be recognizing what you do and don't have going on with your different accounts. All right, so let's talk a little bit about debt. If you find that you've gotten into debt and you can't manage it, then it's really time to start looking for help. Like I said, having the checkings and savings accounts up to date help to manage that debt, but it's really important, like if you get in too far, that you find a credible organization that can help you pay down your debt. And there is ways to do that. An example of a credible source would be one that ends in like on the internet, it would end in .org, or as a university or extension-based service. So for instance, Utah State University Extension has a website that you can reach out at. I'll send this out afterwards too, but it's extension.usu.edu/powerplay. And on that webpage, they have tools for paying down debt. So it kind of coaches you through it. It's pretty neat. And it was developed by an extension agency such as Rutgers Cooperative Extension, but it's Utah State University did it. So really great information there. And there's other services. And like I said, I'll share them. A lot of times they are at low or no cost. They give you ideas and plans, but putting that plan into place is really the first thing you need to do. And have that credible, make sure it's credible source to do that with. I mentioned checking with your bank about your accounts, but that's another way to get advice on paying down your debt by asking, your bank, a financial planner, but get assistance. If you need professional help, I say it all the time with emotional wellness. If you need help, get it. It's the same with financial wellness. We're not all experts in the finance area. So there's no harm in trying to get help out there. You also want to avoid debt getting too great, and you want to come up with some planning techniques like setting a weekly or monthly budget that you can stay on track with. It's really good to examine places that money might be seeping out the holes in your life. So, think about that drafty window where you can feel the cold air coming in. That's true for our finances too. There's times when there's leaks in there. So it could be that expensive morning coffee that you're getting every morning. Maybe instead you make coffee at home and you're saving a couple bucks a day. That adds up over time. So maybe look at your habits and what you're doing and where you can plug in other areas. The other thing, look at where, this is a really good one, is look at where you're paying fees that you don't know. Check your credit card statement, because there could be reoccurring fees every month that you're paying low amounts or even high amounts with. So make sure that you're checking what you're paying for, the apps or is somebody else using one of your TV apps or something like that. Look at where you're spending money that you don't need to. I know my mother was paying a lot for a television subscription for golf, and she doesn't watch golf, and it was exorbitant. It was like $80 a month. So look at those different things and what you're paying for and what you need it for. It's okay to get that streaming situation, but are you paying for what you're using it for? So another way to look at that debt reduction that could be a little bit easier to manage. As I said, I'm going to share a lot of resources with you from after the presentation via email. The three areas that we talked about, in this area, as well as the retirement accounts or other accounts. So when you think about your future, it's really never too early or too late to start saving for retirement. It's good to start as soon as you start employment, saving for it, and continuing to do that. So to do this, look into a low-cost service that can help you if you're unsure about saving and you don't know what works best for you, because there are different kinds of accounts that work for you. The local library often has resources for free or low-cost retirement planning. And a lot of times our own employers can offer assistance in this area. They might have somebody that's doing the investing for the organization that you work for, so you could sit down with them and manage, get management tips that way. But it's important that you have a plan. And when you interview for a job, even, we talked early on about maybe that work situation might change for you if you're not satisfied and, it's not meeting your goals there. Well, if that's the case, when you interview for a new job, ask them about what contributions from the employer there are and what their matching options are. And this will help you now to contribute and in the future. So that's an important part of an aspect on an interview, is knowing, what is being offered to you, not just in salary alone, but in retirement benefits and whatnot. And if you're close to retirement or even before, check with Social Security to find out what you'll have coming in based, on your salary, and what compare it with what you're contributing in maybe a retirement plan, so that you have an idea of how much you'll be making upon retirement, so you know how much to save. If you're spending so much money a month, you'll probably cut that down a little bit, hopefully, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you can live and meet your basic needs of housing and food and shelter and clothing. Same thing with disability. It's important to see what allowable savings are, so that you're sure to minimize retirement and other accounts. So if you haven't done so yet, try to determine, where you are with that and what you can do. So at this point, I'm going to give you all the word for this month to put in when you do your surveys for the Fitbit, and that word is savings. So the word this month is savings. So when you complete the survey at the bottom, it'll ask you for that keyword and it's savings. All right, so financial wellness. Again, I mentioned at the beginning that each dimension can affect the next and come into play with other dimensions in both positive and negative ways, obviously. So to review that, the other dimensions that are impacted or can be impacted by financial wellness, remember that financial wellness involves income, debt and savings, as well as how you understand the financial processes and resources. And of course, this includes your personal satisfaction, both your current financial situation and your future prospects. So some examples of the ways that financial wellness interacts with other components. Occupational wellness involves both work and volunteer opportunities, and that can directly overlap with your financial wellness. Social wellness, if we keep our personal finances in order, it's going to make us a lot easier to have some leisure time activities and be more social. So like maybe go on vacation, have dinner with family, entertain friends at our house, things like that. So while social activities don't need to cost money, they can definitely overlap and depend upon our financial wellness. And that goes for the other side of that is that if you're spending so much time at work that you're not having any type of social life, that work-life balance might be a little off, and that could impact your social wellness. So you might be doing really well with your financial wellness because you're working, but you might not be doing so well on your social wellness. So just something to keep in mind. Another area, just like to cover a few every time, emotional wellness also. You can remember from the definition of financial wellness, it's a person's satisfaction with current and future finances. And because that's included in the definition, it's really important to have a plan so that you feel secure and that your emotional wellness is in check with your financial wellness. Because if you're constantly worrying about your finances, then that's going to put a lot of pressure and stress on you. So you want to make sure that you have those two tied up together and how they overlap. All right, once again, here is the code to scan in for the QR code to answer the two questions at the top. Give me your email address and you'll be entered to win a prize. Just as a review of, the financial wellness and what's going on. It involves work, checking and savings accounts, debt and retirement, or other accounts. And as you've seen through this discussion today, within each of these areas, there are some reoccurring themes like awareness, planning, preparation, and knowledge. So just like you plan to be physically well with your exercise and eating and things like that, same thing with the financial. You're going to plan, be prepared and have knowledge in the area. And with all of these areas, being aware where you stand is really important. Work awareness is important because you need to know your skills and your standings of your employment for financial stability and financial wellness. You need to plan for your future career, perhaps, and maybe what's happening in your career now so that you are, maybe in need of more education so you can advance, or enhancing skills, or getting added credits to keep your credentials that you have already. So, that planning and that awareness is important in that area. And then being prepared for work is equally important by keeping up to date on, what your job entails and what you need to be successful in it, as well as looking for other opportunity. And again, that knowledge also goes for, in your professional area too, just having ways to contribute now and in the future, that knowledge of what it takes to accomplish those things. So, and, as is true for all four of these points, the knowledge and the awareness, knowing and planning can contribute to successful financial wellness. And even though it may seem unobtainable or scary to dive into your financial present and future, doing so can really help you be more prepared and successful. And that's why it's so important for our overall well-being and financial wellness. Okay. I don't think I changed. No, I didn't change this one. Oh, maybe it's on the next one. Okay. Okay, so just a reminder, enter for the Fitbit I'll send out the scan after the survey after this. Morgan's gonna release a poll right now. If you could do it for me, thank you so much, Morgan. And Morgan's Giffords there behind the scenes for FCHS and Cape May County, always doing an awesome job for us. So thank you for releasing that poll. And again, we'll get the survey out to you. You can enter that keyword I gave you, and it'll give you some ideas about how to let me know what you think so that I can help you help improve this curriculum and also enter you to win a Fitbit. So this is the one I did not update. So don't use this one. I thought I updated the slide. My apologies. So to register, when we send out the final, we send out the link to the survey, we'll also send out the registration for next month's presentation. And next month, Morgan, you can jump in if you can hear me, because let me see.
It's May 9th.
Thank you. It's May 9th. Do you remember which one I'm doing?
Oh, you threw me for a loop there.
Sorry.
I can check.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so we'll be doing another one on May 9th. I'm not sure which one it is. We'll get that information out to you so you can register. We hope you join us, and we hope that you'll also give us some feedback with that survey so you can try to win a Fitbit. I have up here my contact information. I will send all of you the information with the links to help you with retirement planning and all, it's all free information. It's all, been vetted by people in my department that do this financial area to make sure they're good resources. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I thank you all for being there. If you have any questions now, I'll hang out. You can put them in the chat, but I thank you all for being here today. I hope that you're able to achieve financial wellness because it can be a struggle. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next month, hopefully.